Well said, and interestingly, in this conference that we attended, the university came out for academic freedom and freedom of expression,
right,
and freedom of association, but they never mentioned the issues of anti-Semitism and racism, which were prevalent at that meeting and overt. That's interesting.
I really think we should be honest about what is going on. I witness what you witness in Germany. I witnessed it in the Netherlands. I saw it in France. The Labour Party in the United Kingdom, the Democrats in the United States. What we are seeing is center-left parties, for whatever reason, and maybe for a complex set of factors, they're going in a direction that, in my view, center-left parties, we call them Labour in this country. So you must think about it. These are parties during the Industrial Revolution. They genuinely, those movements were about how can we lift poor people. Children were being subjected to working adult jobs for long hours. People's injury. You know the history of these parties, and now these parties have been infiltrated, infected, if you will, with ideas, again, that pose as social justice, equality, you name it, which is really an excuse for power, an excuse for authoritarianism, for not having to answer to anyone, for a destruction of what we call freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of association, the free enterprise and free politics. It's very sad, but it looks like we thought in 1989 we defeated the Soviet Union, and now here we are in 2019. And I think, for whatever reason, they have infected us with something in our universities and political parties, especially the center-left parties. And there, how can we say we are the winners? We're not the winners. We are the losers. And the Islamists are exploiting this. Because when you say Dawlat al-Shar'iyya, the state of Sharia, or Islamic law, to achieve that authoritarian utopia through the institutions, people in the media and in politics call it peaceful, but it's not peaceful. It's just non-violent until, in their words, this is quote unquote, it is non-violent until violence is necessary. And this is exactly what they did in Egypt, in Tunisia, even in Somalia, in Iran, anywhere where the Islamists have prevailed. It's always started with dawah. When I'm in the United States of America and I have an audience, sometimes 500, it doesn't matter, large number of people, I ask them, do you know a jihad? All the hands go up. Do you know what dawah is? 2, 3, 4 hands. So I think the University of Oxford is still doing something right. If you know what da'wah is, if you know what da'wah is, it's the phase that precedes Sharia. And if you don't understand that, you're a fool. And not just a fool, as an institution that is supposed to educate young minds on what the trending ideas and ideologies are, you are a failure if you don't know what da'wah is. I'm not saying that the problem on center-left parties and the anti-Semitism is caused by Islamist it was there. But what the Islamist anti-Semites are doing is they're giving them an excuse to come out of the woodwork. Remember, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, it was the never again. We're not going to do this. This is the kind of thing that you can't say, you can't do, it's wrong, it's immoral. And then what happens with, I would say, after Yasser Arafat and Bill Clinton come out and they can't make a deal and the Intifada starts, the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, many of the left-wing parties, some of their members, I lived in the Netherlands. A woman who was married to the central banker put an enormous flag of Palestine right in front of her. She lives in a Jewish community. She put it out there. She couldn't have done that if she hadn't thought that she was going to. I don't think her anti-Semitism was caused by Islamism or Muslim. She had it. She was an anti-Semite to begin with. But she thought she had the license to come out of the woodwork by now claiming that she's fighting for the rights of the Palestinians. Number one. Number two, what Labour and the other left-wing parties have laid to waste. I know in this country Tony Blair is hated, but I think what Tony Blair is doing is to say, let's go back and say, we don't want to be anti-Semites again. He's doing a really good job. Don't give these people an excuse to come out of the woodwork and be anti-Semitic because they are protecting a minority. They are not protecting a minority. This particular woman has absolutely no interest in the well-being of Muslim minorities, no interest whatsoever. She found a way to come out and say things that, I'll give you a few statements. They control everything. It's their money. They pull the strings. It's the dollars. That's the sort of thing that she was then able to come out and say, which we thought after 1945, we're not going to do that again. We're not going to take a subsection, a very small and vulnerable subsection of our population and throw them to the wolves. And she's doing it. So I'm not saying that, I'm not saying Islamists caused it. What I want to point out is Islamists are exploiting it on the one hand, and on the other hand, they're being helped. They're being helped by the existing European anti-Semitism. I mean, they're propagating the elders of Zion. Why? How is that possible? How would an Arab, a Saudi Arabian, or a Tunisian, or a Somali person even know of these pamphlets? But now they're everywhere, in every language, with all the stereotypes. How did that happen?